Boom! Byron Rodgers coming back at you with another quick tip for Tactical Hyve on personal protection. This is a bedrock to what I do for a living. Essentially, you need to learn how to think like the enemy. So, as we're out in public, how would I attack me? Where are my vulnerabilities? And you need to constantly be thinking like the enemy. How do I look to the enemy? When I was in Iraq, a lot of the time, I would constantly be thinking, how do we look to the enemy? How do we look to the enemy? Do we look like hard targets? How would I attack me? And what starts to really help your protection reflexes really click is you get into positions where you're like, oh, I'm vulnerable here. Like there's high ground here, there's high ground here. This is a very vulnerable position for me to be in. And so you start to pay attention to times when you need to heighten your awareness to protect yourself, which makes it harder for you to become a victim. So everywhere you go, you need to start thinking like the enemy. Anytime you're out of public, you need to start thinking like the enemy. How do I look to the enemy right now? Would I attack me? And if I would attack me, how would I attack me? This one principle makes the difference in so many circumstances in my field as a private security operative. And with regards to that, you also need to be rolling a consistent and constant strategy for anything going wrong. You need to constantly, what is my plan? How can I escape? Constantly assessing, how can I escape? Who's the threat? How can I escape? Who's the threat? So as I'm moving through public, and it's a muscle. At first, it might be a little bit for you to have to digest effectively, a lot for you to be taking in, and it has nothing to do with thinking people are good or bad, but it's kind of like a game you're playing with yourself. Like if something happened right now, how would I attack me while we're standing here right now? Now, if something happened right now, what would my plan be? What would I do? This is the way your mind, and it's like you're always continue playing with it. So you're in the green room, you're in this environment. How would I attack me? If I did attack me, what would I do? And what is my plan for escape, evasion, or fight, right? And then you go down the hallway, you move to the next one, and you're hanging with your friends, and how would I attack me? Who's a threat? What would I do if I get attacked? And you're constantly in this flow as you're moving around and as you're doing life, to the point where it actually becomes subconscious, and you're constantly assessing threats, and you're constantly coming up with your strategies, and you're constantly just in this flow of threat assessment, planning, and it's something that's just happening back here in your subconscious mind, which we know is a 1 million times stronger information processor. So all you have to do is than your focal conscious mind. So all you have to do is essentially start programming it to run this software and do these things as you're in your everyday life. And you will be amazed when you see how quickly and efficiently and effectively you can react to threats. This is something I would tell all of my Marines to do when they came on my squad when we were in Iraq. And at the end of the day, I remember distinctly after getting blown up one of the times by an IED, one of my younger Marines looked at me. He's like, hey, Corporal, I remembered. I did exactly what you told me to do. I thought about it, and then I reacted exactly the way, I wanted to. And I remember it being a proud moment. But that's what I want you to do, because these dangerous and violent situations, they can come upon anybody at any time, and we want you to be willing, capable, and prepared to deal with danger or evil when it rears its ugly head. This is Byron Rodgers coming to you with a protection tip for Tactical Hyve. Out. Boom!